Hello everyone. In today's video, I want to talk about one of my favorite servers in Azure called Azure Logic App. If you are new to Azure or you are looking to find out more about this Azure Logic App, then you are in the right place. My name is Riz Ang and I'm a data engineer with a twist. I work in a data engineering consultancy firm and I specialize in Microsoft Azure. I typically make videos about data engineering, Microsoft Azure, or both. So if you are looking contents about that, then you are in the right place. Now, what is Azure Logic App? It's an Azure-based integration service dedicated for non-technical people, and it's very intuitive, and it's got a drag and drop interface, and it allows you to integrate from one application or database to another. So why use Azure Logic App? Well, it helps you to integrate these applications or databases that you want to connect to another very easily, quickly, and cheaply. Easily being you don't have to build or host or manage a new application in order to do anything. You just need to set up this Logic App on the cloud quickly, because you can set this up in a matter of seconds or minutes. And when you actually need to do the integration, you obviously set up the workflow, which I will show in a demo in a bit later. You can do it all drag and drop, so it's very easy. So it's no coding involved, even if you want to. And lastly, it's cheaply, because you only pay what you use, and it's dirt cheap. If I show you an idea what that looks like within pricing, I'm just going to use my region and the British pounds currency. This is typically the cost that you're dealing with, and it's very cheap. And actions is generally what like conditional statements or loops or any other actions that Logic App can do. This is what it costs when you run it. Standard connector is generally what's standard on Azure, and enterprise is generally from other other connectors like IBM or SAP. And just a little note here, there's another one here called Integration Service Environment. This is dedicated for connecting your Logic App into a secure network, and you get to have a dedicated Logic App resource for it. But typically you use this one. Okay. Just to add one more thing, if you want to find out all the standard and enterprise connectors Logic App has, and you can click on this link. It will take you to another link will show you all the connectors available to date for Logic App. All right, I'm going to show you how you can set up a Logic App and how you can use it really. I'm in my Microsoft Azure portal, and I'm just going to create a resource. From here, I'm just going to type Logic App. Show me a Logic App, and it should show you, this screen will show you an overview, a plan, and etc. And you can create. And I'm just going to use my existing resource group here. If you don't have one, you can create a new, and I'm just going to create one called test demo. And I'm going to ignore the integration service environment because we don't need it. And you can add tags. I don't need a tag for this, and I just do create. That simple. Now this can take seconds to minutes, and immediately it's done. And if I click to go to resource, or if I go from my resource group, I should be able to see. Now when you create a Logic App first time you do it, you will get this screen, Logic App Designer, which you can close, and this gives you the overview of the Logic App itself, and you can do the same. Go back to that designer you closed earlier by going to Logic App Designer. And within this overview, just going to give you quickly what this is. This is created in this resource group in this location with this subscription which I have. And yeah, there's pretty much nothing at the moment, so there's no triggers, no actions, and its status is enabled. You can disable it if you want. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. And on the left hand side you see there's activity log, access controls. This is the key one. Access controls, how you grant access people to this Logic App. Usually use Azure Active Directory with role-based access controls, so you do in role assignments here, but that's a separate topic for another video. And then the other key one that I want to mention here is yeah, when you, let me just go back, and if you go click designer, it will take you to that designer screen where you can start with picking a trigger and a bunch of templates which I will use as an example today. Or once you've created this, finish this, you can go to the code view to show you the ARM template view, the code view behind the ones that you've designed. So this is sort of the basic, this is ARM template, yeah. And yeah, that's worth sharing. Now, Logic App always starts with a trigger. So when you have, let's say you have a database on the left here, and you want to you want to use Logic App to read certain records read certain table when there's a new record, for example. You can do that with Logic App. So the trigger would be if there is a new record in SQL in that database, and let's say SQL database, for example, as an example. I typically use this one when an HTTP request is received. So I want to trigger this Logic App with a HTTP request. Typically I use that with Data Factory. So Data Factory send a request using this trigger here, and then Logic App is doing a bunch of things, and then will respond back to ADF in the end. It's another example. Sometimes I use recurrence, so this is just a regular action. So let's say you want to run this Logic App every midnight, every 12 a.m. To do something. Yeah. Or yeah, there's another trigger here. I haven't really used this, but it's quite interesting when you say when there's a new email on your inbox, you want to do something, or yeah, when there's a new tweet in Twitter, or even these common triggers, but there's more triggers than just this. And I'm just going to show you some examples what that looks like. Let's say you want to delete old Azure blobs and on a regular basis. So once a day, scan the storage account and delete all blobs that are older than defined value. If I just pick this, it will need you to have an Azure blob storage, obviously, and I don't have one, so I can't really. I'm not going to show you in this video yet. So I'm just going to cancel that for now. If I just show you an example, a simple one, and then one that I have done quite recently as well, to give you an idea. So this is one of the most common template that I follow. So when I can call the Logic App when with a web request, and yeah, so I can it starts with when a request is received, there's an action you can do certain things. If you want to do something with your Azure SQL or SQL data warehouse, which is Synapse Analytics now, you can do that. There's a lot of actions you can do. See, you can even execute a SQL query, you can run a store procedure. This is Azure SQL Data Warehouse here. And you can go to Azure Data Lake. You can do something, Data Lake. Azure Data Lake, you can create folder, delete files. There are loads of things you can do with Azure Logic App. Yeah. And one of my recent example, which I'm going to show you here, and I plan to do in a separate video to talk about it in more detail, is to actually pause or resume Synapse, because Synapse can be pricey to run it 24/7. So I have a Logic App that I can run in conjunction with Data Factory. So let's say Data Factory is trying to load some data into Azure SQL Data Warehouse or Azure Synapse. Let's just call it Azure Synapse to avoid confusion. I have this Logic App activity that that does this. So I'm using this in conjunction with Azure Data Factory. Yeah. So before Data Factory loads data into Azure Synapse, I typically have Azure Synapse on pause or turned off when I'm not using it. So when I'm about to load data into Synapse, I want to turn it on. So what I do is I call this Logic App from Data Factory, and this is called by Azure Data Factory, and this HTTP here is basically turning on. The one here in the middle, in the second step here, is turning on Synapse. Just to, like I said, I'm going to do this in a separate video. So, and this is turning it on, and usually turning it on takes about a couple of minutes, and this has a delay for I think 30 seconds. And these two actions here is to check basically. This I will set up a new variable here called finish loop, and there's another loop here to check if the it's getting the Synapse state, whether it's still trying to turning on the Synapse, or is it done, meaning the Synapse has been turned on. This is going a loop, and then it responds back to Data Factory telling it's now resume or turn on, and Data Factory can start loading the data. And usually at the end I pause the data, the Synapse again, using the same the same Logic App. Sorry, so if it's too complicated on this one, I promise I will do this in a separate video to make so that it makes more sense. Hopefully that helps, gives you an idea what Logic App can do. So that's it for today's video. What is Azure Logic App? Azure Logic App is an Azure-based integration service and dedicated for non-technical people. It does integrate or connect one application or database to another very easily, quickly, and cheaply. That's it for today's video. Consider subscribing to this channel if you want to see more videos about data engineering and Microsoft Azure. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.